Getting Ram history right. This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the June 21st, 2023 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues? Get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. All right, cool. Great to be here today. A lot of stuff to talk about. Talking about some Matthew Stafford disrespect, Sony Michel back on board. The Rams have signed some draft picks, booted a kid to the curb, some NFL news, some Rams trivia concerning Mel Owens, and a look at the Week 9 game at Green Bay and seeing how that Green Bay defense will look against the Ram offense. But first, as I was working around, I turn on the radio. I do different things during the day just to stay in touch. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of shows, and I happened to click on the Colin Cowherd show, and I don't like bagging on Cowherd because he is the best behind a microphone in sports. Whether you agree with him or not, he's really great at what he does. But he was making a point in terms of talking about Aaron Rodgers and everything coming together with the Jets and stuff. And he used the Rams as an analogy. And that's where it kind of set me off a little bit. And he's talking about the 2021, of course, the Super Bowl season, regarding the acquiring of OBJ and Von Miller. The contention that Cowherd made, along with his co-host McIntyre, was that the Rams needed to get Von Miller and OBJ to kind of turn things around in the 2021 season. We remember, as Ram fans, the Rams in the 4 weeks in November, they had a bye and they went 0-3, losing to the Titans at home, the 49ers in Candlestick in Levi, and then losing to the Packers at Lambeau. But as he was making this point that the Rams needed to acquire those guys to turn around, the Rams acquired OBJ. He got on the field. He was playing in two of those three losses that the Rams suffered in November. They didn't acquire OBJ to turn things around. He was there when they were going through that 0-3 stretch. He played in two of those games. Played significantly in two of those games. And then when they acquired Von Miller, I don't know, between weeks 6, 7, and 8, and he was inactive for a while, and he didn't register his first sack until week 14, December 21st against Seattle. And then he went on a run in the playoffs in the back half of the last quarter of the schedule. Von Miller was great. It's not to say OBJ or Von Miller weren't great or they didn't contribute mightily to the Rams' Super Bowl. But by week 14, the Rams had already turned things around and had won 2 in a row. And so, I don't know. I just don't like being, I just don't like. Those guys were already on the roster when the Rams are going through their skid, turned it around. The team turned things around. It wasn't the acquiring Miller and OBJ that did that. That might be nitpicky, but
stay in your lane.
That's right. You need to stay in your lane, even if you're a national host, and make sure you get it right. Much was made also, they talked about Stafford's pick sixes. Remember, there was a 3-week stretch there where he had 3 games in November with pick sixes. And while I'll agree, the pick six against Tennessee, if you remember that, he was being taken down by his own goal line. He just heaved that thing up. It was a horrible play by Stafford. I called that play PTS, post-traumatic Detroit syndrome, because in Detroit, he always had to play like he was a messiah and not realizing and remembering, because the PTDS, the post-traumatic Detroit syndrome, kept him from recognizing that he was on a better team than he was in Detroit. He should have just ate that ball. Bad play by Stafford there against Tennessee. But let's also remember in Frisco the following week, Tyler Higbee had the pass in his hands, turned, and basically put it in the hands of Jimmy Ward to take 27 yards for a touchdown. So how can you lay that on Stafford? And then the third one in Green Bay is somewhat questionable. Rasul Douglas jumped the route on a ball that was going to Cooper Kupp. It was a contested ball, and Rasul Douglas came up with it. And from where he was on the field, he scored. I'm not going to blame that all on Stafford. I'm not going to blame it all on Kupp. I'm going to give a great play to Rasul Douglas, but I just don't like Stafford being torn down like that. And if you're going to remember history, let's over the national airwaves, let's remember to get it right. And then that leads me to this next thing here, where I like Matthew Stafford. I really like Matthew Stafford, but I don't feel the need to go crazy anytime Matthew Stafford's disrespected. In fact, as an individual, I like to be disrespected in one sense, where no one has any expectations of me, or they diss me, or they dismiss me. I think that's the word, to be dismissed. And I don't think Matthew Stafford, with a ring on his finger, cares about being dismissed. But there was much hullabaloo, and I know it's desperate dead period material. We're always looking for stuff to get all angst about, right? And he wasn't in the CBS Sports or CBS NFL Sports, whatever, top 100. And who cares, right? Who cares? I really don't care. He is the Rams quarterback, and I'll be honest with you, unless it was Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, maybe Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't trade Stafford for anyone else in the NFL, and that includes Jalen Hurts. I just would not do it. I think there is something great and unique about Matthew Stafford. I would really love to see him get another ring. Of course, I'm a Ram fan, but he's thrown for over 50,000 yards, and he has a Super Bowl title. People are caught up. Does he got to do something more to go to the Hall of Fame? And I would argue that if you're going to put Warren Moon in the Hall of Fame, then yeah, I think Matthew Stafford deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not caught up with that, though, and I don't think Matthew Stafford's caught up with that, at least for now. But he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's on the Rams, and he's playing with a coach who completely gets him. Some Ram news, cool. They signed Sony Michel, and some people were upset about it. I love it. Michel did a great job for the club in 2021. He had to go because someone was going to offer him a contract. The Dolphins did. He got cut, bounced around to the Chargers last year. But that was his last shot at getting a contract, or a significant contract in the NFL. He is what he is now. He's a journeyman guy. He's maybe not a starter anymore like his New England days, but this guy knows how to play football, right? I feel so proud is that a year ago we were talking about how Sony Michel blocks, and I saw that highlight of him blocking against Tampa Bay at SoFi back in 2021, flipping the edge player there, and everyone's making a big deal out of it now. But my folks, we're ahead of the game talking about Sony Michel. Michel was fantastic for the Rams. Maybe he have enough to be a spot guy, and Sony Michel is on this roster. If he's on the active 53 coming out of August, it's because Cam Akers, Kyren Williams, Zach Evans, or Ronnie Rivers didn't deserve to be. They just didn't. And I understand Zach Evans was the steal of the draft, along with Puka Nacua, the steal of the draft. But if Sony Michel's on this team, it's because he deserves to be on this team, and maybe Akers, Williams, Evans, and Ronnie Rivers didn't deserve to be. And that's something to keep an eye on. You keep an eye on Akers. Kyren Williams, he is not going to be an every down back. He's going to be a special teams guy, a counter player, someone a change of pace guy. Zach Evans, we're going to see. Ronnie Rivers, God bless him. That he has lasted this long, good for him. But the interesting thing is, would the Rams keep 4 running backs? I remember back in the day when you had 2 running backs in the backfield, a fullback and a halfback, right? You kept 6 running backs. You kept 6. And now that basically the fullback position's been eliminated, 3 running backs seems like the right number. And so Ronnie Rivers gone, and then you got Akers, Williams, and Evans. Williams will play special teams. We're anxious to see what happens to Zach Evans, who is another one of those guys, kind of like Darian Kendrick last year, that some bad fits, some bad personalities, some different actions is the reason he bounced to so many schools. But they talked about him having a much higher grade, that he should have been drafted earlier based on his talent, but you just don't know about his character and his personality. Same thing with Darian Kendrick. Darian Kendrick was a 6th-round pick, and he should have gone much higher, but he had some off-field issues. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Also, if the Rams decide to keep 4, it could be interesting because that means probably a spot will come out of the receivers room. I mean, there's been talk about the receiving room having 7 guys. Maybe it goes down to 6. The tight end room, not 4, but 3, and 4 tight ends is a lot, but 3 tight ends, maybe it drops to 2. It's interesting how that's going to play out, considering, Christian Sims, undrafted free agent, Tyler Higbee is getting long in the tooth. Bryson Hopkins could really be on the bubble this year. And of course, I think because they did take Hunter Long in the Jalen Ramsey trade, they did draft Davis Allen, who was recently signed. I think Hopkins could be in trouble. Higbee, maybe. Christian Sims, he's practice squad material. And so one of these guys could be in trouble when you think about if Michel makes the squad. I still think it should be 3 running backs instead of 4. The other aspect of somebody said, are you taking reps away from another player? Well, outside of that other player learning how to block in pass coverage, in pass defense, you're not really taking reps. It's not like a quarterback and a wide receiver having to build chemistry. A running back can jump in almost pretty much at a moment's notice, hit the hole, and go forward, go north and south, and your coaches are going to love you. So I don't know if he's taking reps from Zach Evans or Kyrene Williams. And so we'll see how that goes from there. Latest on the unsigned draft picks, as you know, the Rams had 8 coming into the other day. Was it Tuesday morning? They had 8. Well, right now they're down to 6 unsigned draft picks, and that's Byron Young, Kobe Turner, Stetson Bennett, Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, Ochuan Mathis, and Zach Evans. These guys are unsigned because Davis Allen, Puka Nacua, Nick Hampton, and Warren McClendon Jr. have all signed their contracts. So good for them. One of the decisions made out of those signings was wide receiver Sam James, a UDFA undrafted free agent out of West Virginia who was signed after the draft was released. I only mentioned Sam James's name is because when you saw those initial highlights of Stetson Bennett throwing deep, the receiver catching the ball on that bomb, that was Sam James. So we wish him well. News around the NFL, Tyreek Hill under investigation for battery. And he's got a history there. And so that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And Saquon Barkley and the Giants are in negotiations to give him an extended contract so he won't have to take the franchise tag. He has until July 17th to work that out, or they have until July 17th to work that out. And odds are, if they're talking now, they're probably going to get it done. Okay, before we go to break, a new feature we added on Monday, the Kistler Law Firm Trivia Question of the Day, Rams Trivia Question of the Day. And this involves Mel Owens. And this is going to be a lot of fun. We'll give the answer at the end of the show. You're also welcome to drop the name into the comment box, and I'll let you know about it at the end of the show. So, which of the following is not true about quirky Rams linebacker Mel Owens? Okay. Which of the following is not true about quirky Rams linebacker Mel Owens? That A, he established a law firm, which he called, he established a law firm with a partner after he played ball. B, he once participated in the running of the bulls. C, he applied to NASA to become an astronaut, but was turned down because of his age. Or D, he ran and completed the Los Angeles Marathon in 1987. Okay. Which of the following is not true about Mel Owens? He established a law firm, A. B, he participated in the running the bulls. C, he applied to NASA and got turned down because he was too old. Or D, he ran and completed in the Los Angeles Marathon. If you remember Mel Owens, he was a unique kind of guy. RamView follower Henry Yep could probably attest to that. Okay, My name is Joe Tarosian, and I was a sports writer for 21 years, one of the founding guys at Mid-Valley Sports. Those guys cover the NFL right now. They're in the room with the Chargers. And I do RamView, thanks to my sponsors, Kistler Law and Temple City Auto Repair. I've written books. I do this, and they help supplement my income because I pastor a small church in Burbank Faith Naz, and you can find us right here online at Burbank Faith Virtual, as well as burbankfaithvirtual.com and all around social media. My Twitter handle is JoeT13B, and that is for Twitter and Instagram, so you can follow me there. And we do thank you for your likes, your supports, your comments, your shares. And if you haven't done it, hit like and subscribe. Please do as we build our footprint. We're really proud to be building our footprint this time of year when everything is slow. And every time someone clicks on, especially this time of year, we do very much appreciate it. And you can check out my books. Type in Joe Tarosian on Amazon, and my books will come up. I've written 2 high school football novels, and they were well received. And so you can check those out, as well as some other fiction as well. Okay, commercial over. Coach K, a loyal RamView follower from Huntington Beach, he contacted me and was talking about how he was checking in on Behind the Grind, and he saw the piece and the little segment on Aubrey Pleasant, and that was cool. And it was really fun to bring it back up because we brought it up a couple weeks ago that, Pleasant's presence now is interesting because he had such a great effect on the Rams up through 2020 and the development of Darius Williams. And now he's back on the Rams with some talented young corners. Both Kobe Durant and Darian Kendrick are very promising, and they're only going in their second year. And the one I'm interested in is with Pleasant's return is, will he be able to get something out of Robert Rochelle? Now, Rochelle in 2021 was getting playing time, but last year he was strictly a special teamer. He had minimal snaps on defense last year, and the Rams were high on him in 2021. And you wonder if maybe Pleasant will be the guy, as he did with Darius Williams, will coax the best out of Robert Rochelle. And that goes as well for THT, Trevius Hodges Tomlinson. And then let alone some of the UDFAs the Rams are high on. Tamarcus Davis, Arizona State, Jordan Jones, as well as the guy that's getting some buzz too, that's a little bit of a veteran, Sean Jolly. So good call there by Coach K. Wanted to acknowledge that, as I think he's on his way somewhere out of town these days. Okay, a lot of fun on this date in history. On this date in 1971, the Rams signed their 17th round draft pick. A 17th round draft pick. 17th round, 418 overall. This draft pick was acquired from the Saints, possibly by the Rams dealing a veteran and kind of washed Elijah Pitts. Remember Elijah Pitts, Green Bay Packers? He was a Rams running back coach for a number of years, coached in Buffalo. Elijah Pitts had a great professional career. 10 years, 11 years as a player, and a long career as a coach. He passed away of cancer, unfortunately, in 1960. But the Rams signed him after Green Bay released him, and he was with the club for about a month, had a couple of carries, and then they dealt him for an undisclosed draft choice to New Orleans. And the Rams got back a 17th round, 418 overall pick in the 71 draft, and that player was Randy Vataha. Now, you got to be a serious NFL fan to know who Randy Vataha was. Randy Vataha was a 5'10", 176-pound receiver out of Stanford. He played with Jim Plunkett in those Rose Bowl games that the Stanford Indians won. And he was signed by the Rams on this day in 1971. Now, he was released by the Rams on August 23rd. But I kind of want to follow up on that, is that Vataha was released, and about a week later, he signed with the New England Patriots. And he played with them for 6 years, again, reuniting with Stanford teammate Jim Plunkett. He in his career had 188 career catches, 23 touchdowns, and he averaged, while he was with New England, 17 yards a catch, 16.8 per catch for his career, caught 51 passes in 1971. As a 17th round pick, he caught 71 passes, 46 in 1975. No small numbers in the 3 yards in a cloud of dust 1970s form of football. and he just deserved to be remembered. Later on, he played with Green Bay and got involved in the founding of the USFL and the original Boston Breakers. But I just thought that was interesting that a guy that could be drafted in the 17th round, 418th overall, could end up as a significant player in the NFL. In fact, he is one of the wide receivers along with Stanley Morgan on the Patriots all-decade team of the 70s. Thought we'd get that in there. Tomorrow, since we won't be on the air tomorrow, Kurt Warner turns 52. Happy birthday to him. And Cam Akers turns 24 tomorrow. It seems like Cam Akers has been around forever, right? And he's only turning 24. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds. Now, he should know Sony Michel, and he should have a good response to him. And I'm hoping Akers gets 300 carries and the Rams run him into the ground. That'll be great. And that means we'll get a lot of good play, and then we won't have to give him a contract. Well, yeah, he is a restricted free agent. Okay. Also, last one I wanted to mention, just because of his name, former Rams running back Skeets Quinlan. Just because of that name, I felt like I had to mention it. He was a Texas player, transferred from TCU to San Diego State. Skeets Quinlan was born on this day in 1928. He only played 5 seasons in the NFL, 5 of them with the Rams, a half season with the Browns. Rams got him in the 4th round in 1952. He was a Pro Bowler in 1954. His best year was 705 yards rushing behind Deacon Dan Towler's 879, and that was in 1953. And 5'11", 173. But old school Ram, wore number 21 in the early 50s, was on some of those high-end passing teams, played for the Rams in the 1955 championship game. So wanted to get that through. Skeets Quinlan. Okay. As we head down to the back half of the show, we are doing week 9 of our journey through. It's been a stone groove to go through these teams as we've gone through the first 8 weeks of this coming season, just looking at the defenses the Rams are going to face each week. As we loop on through, when we come back to the schedule, we'll look at the offenses they're going to face. And right now, the Rams are going to be in week 9. They're going to be going to Green Bay again for the 4th consecutive year. And they're 2-6 after losing in Dallas last week. So I have the Rams projected at 2-6 going into Green Bay on November the 5th, 2023. All time, the Packers lead the series 47-46. That's pretty close considering the Packers' eras of greatness and the Rams' some really bad stretches for the Rams. The Packers lead the all-time series only by 1 game. Packers lead the playoff matchups 2-1. I projected this game as a win for the Rams early on because of Jordan Love. But as we looked at everything progresses and everything changes during the course of a summer, the additions for the Packers are light. Matt Orzech, the Rams long snapper, signed with the Packers. And then, of course, their draft class. They drafted Luke Van Ness, edge out of Iowa, Luke Musgrave, tight end out of Oregon State, Jaden Reed, wide receiver out of Michigan State, Tucker Kraft, tight end out of South Dakota State. And the one that's interesting is Andres Carlson, the kicker out of Auburn. They drafted him 7th round, 207 overall, right where you need to draft a kicker. The reason for that is they've lost Mason Crosby. After 16 years, Mason Crosby will not be kicking for the Green Bay Packers this year. Oh, and they also lost Aaron Rodgers, Alan Lazard, Adrian Amos, who's a free agent. He was 30. He signed with the Jets. Robert Tonyan, they lost him. Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis. So there are a lot of familiar faces in Green Bay are going to be gone. And when you look at their schedule at the start of the season, they open up with the Bears, Falcons, Saints, Lions, Raiders. They go on a bye. Then they play the Broncos and the Vikings. Right now, I'm kind of wavering because I don't trust their offense right now. And I think there's some issues with their defense. But I can see them beating the Bears, the Falcons, maybe losing to the Saints, losing to the Lions, beating the Raiders, and then falling to the Broncos and Vikings. I could see the Packers at 3-4, at best 4-3 when the Rams come to town. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Looking at this team, this is a defense that's got players, but you wonder if they're on the wrong side of things when you look at them. Their best safety is Rudy Ford. He was a free agent. He had his best year, came in last year. I think he was from Jacksonville. He finished 17 out of 88 graded safeties. Not bad, but not exceptional, not anything off the charts. Zaire Alexander at corner is exceptional. 8th best cornerback last year in the NFL out of 118 graded. You have to like him. But the linebackers that they've invested in, Devondre Campbell is turning 30, and he had a significant drop-off in 2021 from really being highly graded to now he's middle of the pack. And then their edge rushers, Rashawn Gary. He was 12th overall in 2019, 12th overall draft pick in 2019 out of Michigan. And he's never really blossomed, but he really kind of took a dip even from where he was. Preston Smith, who has gotten a lot of ink over the years, but he had a big drop-off last year, and he turns 31 this season. Hence, you know why they drafted Luke Van Ness out of Iowa. Along the front line, Devontae Watt, first-round pick in 2022 out of Georgia. Yeah, no impact at all. Tadariel Slayton is just a guy. Kenny Clark, drafted 27th overall out of UCLA in 2016. He's turning 28. He should have some years left, but he's been a top 20 graded DT, interior defensive lineman, for almost his whole career. And then last year he dropped to 45th. And so when you look at this team, you see this team has potential for a dip, and they're not going to have an offense as explosive without Aaron Rodgers to carry it. They're going to have some guys that are really breaking in. After drafting Van Ness, this team went heavy on offense. And the defense is still capable of winning, but it's aging. And with an offense breaking in a first and second year skill guys, along with a new quarterback, even though they have a terrific offensive line, I think this team is vulnerable, and I think the door is open. And a progressing Rams defense, which I do believe will be getting better by this point in the season, I think they get their first win in Green Bay. I don't think the Green Bay defense is enough to shut down the Rams offense. And I think the Rams defense is enough to shut down the Packers offense. And so I see the Rams getting their first win in Green Bay since 2006. That day, Mark Bulger threw touchdown passes, one to Torrey Holt and Kevin Curtis, and Steven Jackson ran for 98 yards. Leonard Little had 2 sacks, and the Rams got a win that day. I remember screaming at my DirecTV because I lost my feed for about 5 minutes before the end of that game, and I had to do some soul searching by the way I lost my cool. But anyway, I see the Rams winning this game and improving to 3-6. And I believe next week they run into a bye. Let's double check that real quick here. I do believe they run into a bye week in week 10. Yeah. So they'll hit bye week with a 3-6 record. And so, yeah, I think at this point we should, if everyone stays healthy as it stands now, they should start seeing things turn around.
It was a stone
Now,
groove,
yes,
my
it
man.
was a stone groove, but let's get to the answer to the Rams trivia question from Kistler Law. Which of the following is not true about quirky Rams linebacker Mel Owens? A, he established a law firm for which he was a partner called Namini, Byrne, and Owens. B, he once ran with the Bulls in Pamplona, Spain. C, he applied to NASA in order to become an astronaut, but was turned down due to his age. Or D, he ran in and completed the Los Angeles Marathon in 1987. You know what? I'm going to get some Jeopardy music and play it right now at some point while we're doing these trivia questions. But the answer is C. He applied to NASA in order to become an astronaut and was turned down due to his age. Now, if you remember Mel Owens, this was a dude that was always in shape, always. And so you can see as he ran a marathon, ran with the Bulls, obviously a smart guy, established a law firm, that, yeah, he probably had the hubris to think, yeah, I'm going to go to NASA, man. I'm going to become an astronaut, but was turned down due to his age. So great question. I hope some of you got that answer out there. And I'm Joe Terosian, and thank you so much for clicking on. We're going to get out of here, and I will be back on Friday. Now, just a programming note, thank you so much. We are picking up some momentum on Spotify. Boy, man, that has been tougher than a $2 steak trying to get headway there. But slowly but surely, we're picking up a tiny audience. Keep on doing that for us. If you could click on, encourage your friends, like, subscribe, hit links. And as we build our audience going into this coming season. But programming note, I will not be on the air next week. Next week, I will be in a dual capacity. I am serving I serve on a campground board up north. I'm the director of the Outsiders Ministries. We run camps for young people, and we're doing a training week for CITs, counselors in training. So I'll be involved with that. And I'll also be at what we call a district assembly, as I am a minister in the Church of the Nazarene, and we're voting on new leadership up in Pismo Beach. So I will not have time to be on the air next Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but we will be on the air this Friday. So be sure to check us out. Thank you so much. Those who stuck with me, let me know you're there. I'll be sure to say hi. God bless. Take care, and go Rams.